Hey, it's Jeff Sauer here representing Jeffalytics.com, and for this video we are going to talk about tools of the trade. Specifically, we're going to talk about the tool we use to manage all of our projects at Jeffalytics and even to manage this 90-day challenge where we're producing 90 videos in 90 days. And that tool is called Asana. Asana is a lightweight project management tool that works really well for our needs and also for the needs of many other people who are managing projects or delivering content, delivering websites, whatever they're delivering at their company. A lot of people have really flocked towards Asana. And I want to show you why it works for us. And I'll start with the tale of why we got here. Now, I've been at all different levels of business. I've been at businesses that are very lightweight, have no project management whatsoever. I've been at businesses that are what I'd call heavyweight, where there's lots of project management and lots of red tape to cut through. And I find that neither of those are very fulfilling for me. Too little process means things get lost in the shuffle or thrown by the wayside, and too much process means you can never get anything done. And so I wanted something at Jeffalytics that was somewhere in between. I wanted something that was more than just winging it every single day, more than just Jeff deciding every morning when he wakes up what he's going to do. I wanted something in between that and something where we had our next 2 years of our lives planned out and we had to be working constantly just to keep up with the tool. We didn't want the tool to get in our way. And so in this Tools of the Trade demonstration, we're going to show you why we arrived at Asana, why it's exactly what we need, and how we use it for production here at Jeffalytics, things we really like about it, and also the annoying things. So watch along for a look inside of our project management process as well as a comprehensive review of what you can find inside of Asana. So let's talk about how we manage our production schedules here at Jeffalytics with Asana as our tool. Now, before we get into tools, I actually want to talk to you a little bit about my business. And specifically, I want to talk about what my biggest business goal is for 2018. Now, you might think that my business goal is to get traffic and revenue. And that's not true. That is not what my business goals are. I don't care about traffic. While I really do care about traffic, and obviously we need revenue to make this thing work, the biggest thing that I want to do in 2018 is to nail down the process for my business. Because if you don't have process in place before you start to scale, before you have all the traffic and all the revenue in the world, then you will fall apart at the seams. You won't really have much of a business because it will just be you putting out fires, and basically it won't be a really well-run business. And I actually really want to have a well-run business. Now, of course, you can't have a well-run business if you don't make any money. That's not a good business either. So you need to have things like revenue. You need to have things like traffic because that produces the revenue. But I actually want to have the process in place, and I would sacrifice making as much money as possible. I would sacrifice revenue in order to make sure that we have the right process in place for 2018, because I think that it's going to mean that we can grow significantly more in the future, and we can get the revenue, and we can have people in place that can go out there and perform the tasks that we need them to perform in order to get our revenue to increase and increase. And so really it's a process thing. In 2018, we want to develop repeatable processes for everything that happens in the business. From production of our courses to this 90-day challenge to content that we put out there on YouTube, everything we do, we want to have some kind of process in place. Because as we grow and scale Jeffalytics, project management becomes vital to everything. Because otherwise what you have is a bunch of half-finished projects. Now, I'm the master of projects that get about 55% complete, and then I sort of move on to something else, or I have to go put out a fire, and things just sort of sit there, and then I'm like, oh, that was a good idea, but it never got implemented because I was doing something else. Well, that doesn't scale, as you can probably imagine. That doesn't make you a good business owner. It means that you are good at being a solid individual and an individual contributor, and you're doing stuff to put out fires, but you don't have a business that somebody would want to buy. You don't necessarily have a product that somebody would want to buy. There's all kinds of stuff that being a healthy business that don't happen when you're putting out fires constantly. You can't run a good business when everything is an alpha version. You need to ship. And to ship, at least consistently, you need to have process. Now, it used to be just me here at Jeffalytics. That's why the name is Jeffalytics. If I knew that I was going to scale it beyond a single author blog that I started in 2012, if I knew it was going to be more than that, I probably wouldn't have named it Jeffalytics. Actually, I'm still not sure why I named it Jeffalytics. I think that I should have named it something else. But At the time, I had no ambition to grow and scale a company, and I just wanted to be known. I just wanted people to know who I was. So that's what happened with Jeffalytics. And when I first started, I was able to manage my own little schedule. I was gainfully employed and on weekends and at night, and whenever I had free time, I would just write something and hopefully it would work out. And I did it pretty consistently at first. This is also right after I got married and my wife was living in a different state, and so it was a little bit easier for me to do things. But over time, there became no accountability for delivery, because the only thing that held me accountable is whether I decided that I wanted to do something or not. And a lot of times I would get busy, I'd be working on something, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just do this later. I'll just come up with this post another time. And so there's no accountability, there's no schedule, there's no sense of urgency whatsoever. And as you can imagine, output suffered. And there was a time where I stopped publishing. There was entire years where I put up like 2 blog posts, which is pretty sad because the blog is what's created all these opportunities. The blog is what I'm known for. It's done so many things for me that it's sad that I focused that way, but that's just what ended up happening. And as the team grew, and as revenue started to grow, as I started developing my own products, the need for process became apparent. And so the first process that we perfected was developing a process for recording our podcast. And it was really just an email. It was an email between me and Urosh, who's a team member, and it looks like I sent it on Friday, January 29th, 2016. It was probably like hey, let's begin the year right. Let's put process in place. So this is 2 years ago that I was like, hey, let's put a process in place. And back then I didn't really know what I was doing. And the process that I had was I just send an email with all the different steps that I have as a bullet point. And then Urosh goes through each of these things and he checks them off when he's done. Do that every single week, or I think it was every 2 weeks when we were recording the podcast at that point in time. And that's what our podcast process was. There was no fancy project management tool. I don't really know if he printed it out and then he checked it off, if he used it as a checklist, but basically this is the process we had to go through. And that was all we really needed to make our podcast sing. And email works fine, but only if your steps never change. And we used this process for a whole year. And during that year, the podcast became our really consistent piece of content. In fact, it is the most consistent piece of content we've ever produced, hands down, by far. But as the business has grown and we have 6 people on the team now, we needed something better. We needed something that was both flexible, more flexible than an email, and we needed something that was repeatable, something we could just copy and paste and just keep on going over and over again. We needed something in between an 800-pound gorilla and putting Post-it notes on everything, somewhere in between those things. We didn't need a heavy project management tool. I've used those at my agency, and it's just too much. I can't handle it. The adoption gets tough, and then you spend all your time trying to solve problems with the tool, not trying to solve problems for your clients or trying to create something new. Asana is what eventually came to the rescue. And no, I'm not talking about a yoga pose. I'm talking about a piece of software called Asana. I would say Asana is a very simple project management and task management tool. Super easy to use. Even look at this homepage. They're not really asking you for much. It's just super simple. And it has become the central nervous system for creating our work product here at Jeffalytics. We don't produce something unless it goes through Asana first. And of course, this is something where I say that in 2018, after having been using this for about a year and a half and having some starts and stumbles, having not always adopted it, not always done everything properly in this tool, but basically it is the central nervous system for creating our work product. And it will be even more and more in 2018 as we build up the team to manage it and as we get more confidence in the system. And I love it. And so as I talk to you about tools of the trade, I wanted to share with you 10 things that I really like about Asana. And these are things that are not in most project management tools. So I'm not going to go with just basic stuff that's in every project management tool. I want to talk about stuff that's specific to Asana. First of all, the board view is great for content projects. This is a board. You might have used Trello before in the past or another project management tool that has boards and cards. You can basically take something on one side and you can move it over to somewhere else when it's complete. I love the board view. It's really cool for content projects. You can also do a list view if you have projects that are based on a step. So this is when we produced our agency course. We basically had all the steps defined as to how we produced this thing, and then we checked them off once we went through them. And we had a lot of things that went into this, a lot of considerations, and we needed this view for our more complex projects. And so there's a difference between something that's like, hey, put out a blog post, and then there's like producing an entire product. And so we use the different views for the different items in here. You can also do a calendar view for your team projects, so you can see how busy each of your team members are, what they're working on, what they're busy with, and whether they're completing the tasks that they're tasked with completing. Now this is a really cool one. We keep meeting notes and assign tasks within Asana. So whenever somebody schedules a meeting, they're in charge of having an agenda, and then we talk through the agenda as to what somebody's going to do, and we assign dates to it. So if somebody has something that they're working on and they say, hey, I'll get you that, then we assign it to that person and we give them a task that's due that day. That way when they look at their tasks that are available, they remember to do that. And I can't tell you how many times this helps me, especially me, not let things slip through the cracks. Because if you say, yes, I'm going to do that, but you don't write it down, and then you go to another meeting and another meeting after that, things slip through the cracks. Things never slip through the cracks when you assign it to yourself and you say that you need to do this. Now, they don't always get done, but they never slip through the cracks. And so this has been a really nice thing for us, is in our meetings that we have, we assign tasks, and that way we know that somebody's going to be accountable for it. And you can also use this to inform other team members about things that are going on. So we'll often assign tasks to other team members, even if they weren't in the meeting, just to let them know that we have a project coming down or there's something that we need to have them work on. So it really works well. You can tag your tasks and make it so you can easily find things. We do this with the 90-day challenge. We tag it based on what type of content it is, and that way we can have all of that content. We can put it together. Even if it doesn't fit on the board, we can just do a search for that tag. You can bulk edit your due dates. So if you want to change everything, if you run out of time on a certain day, as you can see, I'm recording it on the 22nd. If I didn't get through all the recordings I'm doing, I think I'm responsible for 6 videos today, which is going to be impossible. Then you can bulk edit them and move the next one over and just see how that impacts the downstream piece for the rest of your team. And we built in time into our schedule, so if you don't get everything done on time, there is a buffer in there that it still doesn't affect things overall if you miss a day or two. So you move dates, so you keep honest with the team with what your schedule is going to be. You can also integrate time tracking. So if you want to do time tracking, you can put it right into Asana and you can track how long things are taking. This is really nice if your team does time tracking, which I'd recommend for any business to have some kind of time tracking so you know what's profitable and what's not, and you can do that right within Asana. It also integrates with Zapier, which is one of my favorite tools of all time for marketing. You can basically have any action that happens in your business. You can push it into Asana as a task based on any other app communicating with Zapier. And there's over 100 plus Zaps that do fit this criteria. So you can play around and you can look at the Zap book and integrate with Asana on many things. Not only that, but there's lots of native app integrations as well. So there's an app directory that you can use, and you can basically tap into these native apps. We've connected so many different pieces here, and it really works well for us. And finally, another thing that I really like is that you can attach files to your projects from any online drive. And so when we're working with videos, what we'll do is we'll go into our Dropbox, find these huge video files, we'll attach them right into Asana, and that way whoever's working on it next can see that our videos are right inside of that project, and they can download them if they need to or add them to their Dropbox and have that data right there. And the cool thing is you don't have to upload it from your own computer because it's already in Dropbox. So you don't have to do the double work of uploading twice and stealing your bandwidth in order to get something in there that's already been uploaded to the internet. So the integration with Dropbox especially is fantastic. Now, not everything is great about Asana. There's some really small little things that annoy me so much that I just have to let you know. And hopefully if the team at Asana watches this, they understand that they need to fix these things. Some of these things are so easy to fix that I hope that they do genuinely watch us and fix it. Some things, maybe they're not as annoying, but we'll deal with them anyway. Number 1, notifications. You have the worst notification system ever of any app I've used, Asana. I have 99 notifications. I have 99 problems. My phone, my iPad, everything, it's like, oh, Asana wants your attention. Anytime that somebody moves something or touches a task that I have, and I have hundreds of tasks, I get notified about it. And it's like, I don't want to get notified about these tasks. Like, I want to get notified when somebody says, Jeff, do something. Otherwise, I just look at my tasks and I get them done. I don't need a notification about that I've been assigned a task. I can just see it in my tasks list. This is terrible. And there's not really many options for filtering. So here's an example of the over communication on tasks. It's really frustrating, really annoying whenever something happens. I'll get these things overnight and I'll have like 100 messages. I can never clear through it. So if there's a legitimate message, I don't see it because it's over communicating with me. And there's no way to see just the messages that are sent to you. I can't see @Jeff Sauer messages. I just see everything. I see everything that's in there. Now you can go in there and you can turn off emails. I have turned off email. I don't get email notifications whenever a task comes in, but that means that I'm missing out maybe on something relevant. And like I get task reminders once a day, and then I get a weekly dashboard that tells me what's happened in there, and that's nice. But the all activity, I would love to have an option in here where I could just get notified when somebody says @Jeff. That's what I want. I want to know if somebody is directly talking to me. I don't need to know all this crap about the tasks. I see them in my tasks view. And you can't really prioritize tasks very easily. So today, as I'm recording this, I am working on this one, which is Tools of the Trade for Asana. I have all these other videos that I need to record, and I can't say which ones are the highest priority. And so basically, every time I look at my task list, it just keeps on getting bigger, and it never really goes down. And once I knock down on this Asana one, it's like, which one is the next highest priority? Is it the number? Is it like when somebody needs to edit it? Is it what's the most important thing here? There's no sense of which one of these is the most important. And when everything's treated the same, it gets to be overwhelming, no doubt, right? So you just want to get over the overwhelming parts, and Asana doesn't really do a very good job there. And the last thing I don't like is that when you copy a task, it's really nice that you can copy a task and move everything over, and you can even move over the due date, but you can't do relative dates. Like if I have a project that always takes 14 days to complete, I want to be able to put in the new due date on this copy task sheet, and then everything is relative to that. I just want to know, like, okay, well, if something is due in 14 days, then 13 days beforehand, it needs to be this step, and then 12, and then 10, and so on. That's easy to do. I want to be able to copy relative to the new due date, and they don't let you do that. That'd be a pretty easy thing to fix. I can only imagine if they add that option in there, but they don't do it. And it's really annoying. It's really frustrating that they do it that way because no projects ever do the same date. I don't understand why they let you put the due date in there but not the new due date, because you would never copy something and have it do the exact same date. Projects are you're copying the old one and you're putting in the new one. So that's really frustrating. It would save us a lot of time if we could do relative dates. It would save us so much time. We're talking maybe 100 hours a year that we could save if we could have relative dates. So fix that, Asana, please. Now, I love Asana. I just told you some warts. I just told you some bad things. But I'm very hopeful that they can solve our small problems. And if you're interested in trying Asana, just go to jefflytics.com/Asana and we'll redirect you right to the homepage and you can get signed up and you can use it. And it's really an amazing tool. It doesn't matter where you're at in your project management process. I talked to you about how we just got started and how we used email at first. If I would have known about Asana then, I wouldn't have even needed the email step. I would have just gone right into Asana. It's that good. It works really well. And you can do the same thing. And so you can give it a shot there. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, this is video number 21 in our 90-day challenge. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay up to date with things. Hopefully you find that these videos are really interesting and substantial and really valuable to you. And the daily reminder email and write-ups are at jefflytics.com/90days as well. And you can get some really cool information through that. And I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you keep on loving this insider perspective that we have into the tools we use as we run our business. Not only that, but also the behind-the-scenes look that's going to be coming out tomorrow. We're going to show you behind the scenes as to what we do here at Jefflytics. And then next Saturday, we're going to do another tool of the trade. Really cool stuff here. We're showing you the process. We're showing you how we've developed our intellectual capital and how we're running this business. So if you like this, make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you let us know that you like these types of videos so we can invest time and continue to make these things really worthwhile for you. That's jefflytics.com/90days to get signed up for the email. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Stay tuned for our next video.